For me, I haven't wanted to kill myself since I started transitioning.
I've been invisible for a big chunk of my life, and I feel like sometimes I'm still invisible. I was 8 years old, and I was playing out on the schoolyard. I went home crying, and I told my mom, you know, the boys were teasing me, and they kept calling me a girl and told me I couldn't play with them because I was a girl. And then my mom looked at me and she said, well, you know, you are a girl. And so from there, like, there was this weird spiral that happened in my little 8-year-old head. Once I became older and I started doing research and trying to figure out where my place was, I found a lot of things about being transgender, but never for black folks. So I figured that being a hardcore lesbian was as good as it was going to get.
For me, coming out wasn't as hard. I used to make up fake screen names, so I had all these male aliases that I would go by and talk to all these people online like as a dude, and I loved it. But it wasn't until I was in college up in Westchester where I was having a conversation. So I was like trying to hit on this girl, and I was talking to this guy and asking him for advice. And so we're talking and he gives me all this advice, and he's like, oh, and I was like, wow, you really know women well. And he was like, I should, I used to be one. And I was like, wait, what? Are you serious right now? And it was like literally like my aha moment. Like I had no idea that trans men existed until I met that guy. That's when I knew, to be completely honest, was like, oh, this is it. Like this is what I am.
Coming out as a lesbian was hard enough. Like I lost my mom for like 2 years behind that. And I think they just didn't, at the time, because I am a little older, they didn't understand, and I get that. But coming out as trans was a little different. Like my mom was like, hey, at least you're not gay. My dad literally asked for time, which I respected as well, because he did come to me and say, hey, look, I need some time to kind of wrap my head around this.
I lived in New York City, so that's right there. That's a huge blessing. So I was able to find a trans support group and just go to that. It happened every week. You know, it didn't cost any money, so I could just go, show up, meet people, let those be my friends. So even when I came out, I like specifically told my mom, listen, I have my appointment, I'm starting hormones in 2 weeks, I have a doctor, I really like her, I have support, so you can take all the time that you need to deal with this.
My kids took it like a champ. Like they were like, hey, go dad, go. And so my son used to call me mom, dad, and after a little while in the transition and my face started to change and my features started to change, my son was just like, okay, can I just call you dad because you look like a dad? I said, yeah, I'll go for it. I transitioned in Compton, and with that came a lot of beatings that came from the immediate community. I had gotten into countless fights, but indoctrinated and socialized as a female child, I never thought that I was strong enough to fight back. And the one time that I did, I fought back because my son, was in my presence when I was challenged. And, you know, I decided to go ahead and fight back, and I won that one.
I mean, there's just like this unrealistic expectation of being super hard and super toxic, and that's what makes you a real man.
We're not seen as a demographic that is important. We're not seen as a demographic that even exists. So that's why I call, you know, us as black trans men an invisible group of men.
Stop thinking you're going to understand. You're not going to understand what it's like to be trans if you're not trans. Just like you're not going to understand what it's like, you know, to be a woman if you're not a woman. So like this whole thing of like, I have to understand it in order to accept it, that's got to go out the window.
But in all seriousness, we're no different. We're people just like your people.
What's up? It's Alex Clark with The Root. We're going to bring you a lot more new series and videos like this every week. So let us know what you think below, and make sure to subscribe to our channel on YouTube.